Hello, my name is Briar. Welcome to my channel where I am documenting my writing journey from passionate writing nerd to hopefully published author. Today I want to share 7 alternative ways of creating goals for yourself for Camp NaNoWriMo. If you're not aware, NaNoWriMo is the goal program thing where writers from all around the world get together in the month of November and try to write 50,000 words of a brand new novel. However, November is kind of a terrible month for a lot of people. So, the NaNoWriMo program created camps, which are more flexible writing community programs in the months of April and July. So for Camp NaNoWriMo, you are not tied into the shared goal of writing 50,000 words in 30 days. Instead, you are free to set your own goals, and you can choose to make that word counts, or they have some posts on the NaNoWriMo website about how to set a time-based goal or an editing goal, and it's just a lot looser and more fluid and customizable than the original November NaNoWriMo. Today, I want to talk about not word goals. Now, it used to be way back when that the NaNoWriMo website, you were able to actually customize this during the camp programs of you want to do so many minutes of time or so many pages of your draft, and they took that feature away when they upgraded a couple years ago, so now everything is done in words. But when you're using alternative goals, like what I'm going to discuss in this video, you can just imagine that the words in your goal is something else. Like instead of it's one word on the Nano site means 1 minute towards your goal, or one word is one page, or so on and so forth. So there are alternative ways that you can set your goal that it's going to read on the Nano site as words no matter what, but for you, it can be something different. The first alternative goal is one that I did for April Camp NaNoWriMo in 2021, which is a time-based goal to create a daily writing habit for the month. In April of 2021, I set my goal as 600 minutes. That I wanted to write for 600 minutes throughout the month. But I couldn't just sit down and write for a couple hours one week and be done, because I was trying to build the habit of writing for at least 20 minutes a day. So each day I would set a timer and do a 20-minute writing sprint. And some days that was all that I wrote, and I would get onto the Camp Nano site and log that I'd done 20 minutes. Other days, I would sit and write for a couple of hours because that's what I had time for, and I would get on the Camp Nano site and write that I had written for 20 minutes, because it wasn't so much counting how many minutes I was writing as it was, did I write for 20 minutes each day? And that was super successful for me because 20 minutes is not a long time, but by sitting down each day and saying, I only have to write for 20 minutes, I did a lot more than that in the month of April, but I met my goal and I got the 600-minute Camp Nano goal that I'd set for myself, even on the days when I wrote for a much longer time, but I wrote for 20 minutes every single day. So setting a time-based goal that you're using to track a habit of writing and build that habit up over the course of the month. My second alternative goal is also time-based, but in this goal, you would be trying to treat your writing more like a job and setting how many hours you're working on writing per week. I like to phrase it as treating your writing as a job because we do look at our careers and our work time as people working 40 hours a week, 30 hours a week, 60 hours a week. So looking at how much time you have in a week and then trying to guess how much time you can devote to writing that week and setting a small goal of 5 hours a week or Make it a part-time job. Set your goal at 20 hours a week. Can you do it? And in this one, you could set your goal on the Nano site as a word is a minute and do the math for 5 hours, 60 minutes. How many minutes is that for the entire month? I think it would add up to 120, no, 1,200 minutes. 1,200 words would be your goal to write 5 hours a week. Or if it's 20 hours a week, do you want to do each word on the Nano site goal is a minute or an hour? It's entirely up to you, however you want to track it. If you can treat writing as a part-time job for the month of Camp Nano, that would be awesome. I work another part-time job, so I could try. I'm not, but I could maybe in July when I work less. A third alternative goal is one that I am tossing around in my head, and that is a handwriting goal. So there's always talk about handwriting versus typing, which is better for your brain, which is better for your writing style or your focus or just getting some time away from screens. And for a handwriting goal, I imagine you could track it 2 ways on the Nano site, either doing it the same as time where you're handwriting, but you're writing for 20 minutes a day, making a habit or making it a full-time job or a part-time job or blah, blah, blah. So you could combine this with either of the previous ones and just set your goal and use that time for handwriting. Or you can track how many pages you want to handwrite. So I know some people do morning pages. I don't remember where that came from. In the description, I will try to include more information about that. But the idea is that you get up every morning and you handwrite 3 pages of journaling each day. So if you want to create that habit, then 3 pages of handwriting a day times 30 days. So your goal would be 90 words on the Nano site, but in actuality, 90 handwritten pages for the month of April. The next 2 are focused more on editing. If you are not starting a new project or you're not working on drafting, then maybe you want to look at a goal that tracks what you're editing. So in this case, you could go with the 4th possible alternative goal and count chapters or scenes of either you're drafting something you've already outlined or you are editing something that you've already written, and counting how many chapters do you want to edit in the month of April, how many scenes do you want to write or edit in the month of April. Count all those up, put it into your goal, and make that your project goal for the month of April. And this one, it might end up being like a very small number. It would probably be like less than 100. It's definitely less than 100. So if you're okay with having a smaller goal and tracking what you want that way, that might be a good alternative for you. Number 5, but similarly, you could also track how many pages you're editing. So if I was looking at one of my drafts, I've got a 320-page draft of one of my novels. And if I wanted to edit that whole thing in the month of April, I would set 320 as my goal and see how many pages I can edit per day, per week, per whatever. And that would be another way of tracking your editing progress for the month. Alternative goals 6 and 7 are kind of my favorite. They have my heart because they are way more in the alternative direction of a NaNoWriMo goal. My 6th idea for an alternative goal is one that I'm really, really tempted by, and that is using the goal setting system to track how many pages you're reading of a writing craft book. So if you have a writing craft book that you know you want to read, that you want to dive into, that you want to do the exercises within that book, maybe you can set the page number for that book as your goal and see how many pages you read, and you can only count it if you have done the exercises on that page as well. So that's very tempting for me, is to explore the writing craft through reading craft books and use that as your focus for April or for any Camp NaNoWriMo. And alternative goal number 7 is really focused on refilling your creative well by doing a creative habit every day for 30 days for the month of April or whatever Camp NaNoWriMo you're doing. Because you could set your goal as 30 words, but in actuality, each word is reflective of a day that you are doing whatever habit you decide you want to focus on for the month of Camp NaNoWriMo. And that could be, do you want to do yoga because you've noticed that you're getting that tension in your shoulders from hunching over your laptop and trying to do all your writing things. And so you're trying to improve your physical health, to improve your creative health and well-being by doing yoga every day for Camp NaNoWriMo. Or maybe you are also an illustrator and you want to dive more into your illustration side, or that's how you brainstorm for your work and you just want to do that every day. So set your goal as 30 or 31, however many days are in your Camp Nano, and focus on that aspect of your creative writing life rather than focusing on the insistent urge that we add words to a document, because word count is not everything. Sometimes it feels like it when we're going into these NaNoWriMo-esque events because there's so much emphasis on word count. But make it yours. Do what you want. Do what you need to do to become a better writer. And sometimes that's not always writing. I mean, you should be writing, but you don't need to track it obsessively by looking at how many words you're writing a day. So those are my 7 ideas for alternative goals you can use to participate in Camp NaNoWriMo this year. I hope it's been helpful, and if you decide to use any of these goals, let me know. I am teetering between, do I want to read some new craft books or do I want to experiment with handwriting? I have ideas and feelings, and I will make a decision and share that next week about what my Camp Nano goal is going to be this year. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Be sure to leave a comment about your Camp Nano goals, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.